Call to order. Declarations of conflict of interest. I believe the deputy has one. Deputy, what's it under?
It's under planning. It's
Yes.
number 2, 320 Capitol Drive. My brother's involved in that now, so.
The solicitor? Okay.
And I'm also in conflict under planning on number 2 as well.
On Capitol Drive? Okay, so we'll have two that like to drop in. Any other declarations? Okay. Approval of the agenda.
Yes.
Approval of the agenda moved by Councillor McCabe, second.
Sorry, Mr. Worship,
Under approval of agenda?
I would like to change the agenda if I could.
Yeah. What number?
In Public Works, the resolution concerning
What section is that?
the 5-year program for sidewalk. We're
Six-
going to,
6.9.
We're going to take that off and we'll be discussing it on Monday night as we also have to discuss Public Works again tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So as Councillor McLeod said, there may be a meeting on Monday night, the
There's-
20th, because we don't have any possibility to meet the last Monday of this month. Can you explain why?
There's a meeting tomorrow at New Worship to review the
Right.
list because everybody was asked to review their capital budget, so
Right.
they're asking them a chance to review that.
Right.
But the chair has the obligation if he wants, he can pull that out before
can.
the meeting, you don't have to.
No,
I just wanted to publicly announce it.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
So moved by Councillor Renz to approve the agenda, second by Councillor McLeod. All those in favor, please raise your hand. And we don't have to call in, do we? Okay, minutes. The regular monthly meeting, November 8th, 2021. Special meeting open, November 29th, December 6th, 2021. Moved by Councillor Ramsey, second by Councillor Duffy. Okay, all those in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, business arising. I just have one item. I know under the December 6th meeting, I'm gonna give these minutes to Tracy, but under call to order, I made reference to Mark Connors, the young hockey player from Nova Scotia, who faced racial slurs from fans at a city facility during the Early Bird hockey tournament. And as mayor and council, there is no way that we condone such behavior. And we will be working with Hockey Prince Edward Island to help out or assist the investigation as much as possible. So I have this as part of that of the minutes. So I can just give that to you, Tracy. And that's under call to order at December 6th. I just wanted in the minutes. Anything else? No. No? Okay. Let's see. Okay, first report, Councillor McLeod, do you want to start off?
Sure do. Thank you very much.
Planning and Heritage?
Thank you very much, Your Worship. Planning and Heritage Committee did not meet in December, and therefore there were no reports or minutes. The Planning Board met on Monday, December the 6th. The copies of the planning report and minutes are included. The Heritage Board Committee did not meet, and there's nothing in the package there for you to review. The Design Review Board met on November 29th. A copy of the Design Review and the minutes are there as well for your perusal. The Affordable Housing Advisory Committee met on November 16th. Those minutes are there for your usage. And then I have 3 resolutions for consideration for this evening, 1 first reading and 2 second. And I'll try to answer any questions I can. Thank you.
Any questions on the report from Councillor McLeod? Seeing none. Do you want to read the first resolution?
Yeah, sure. Moved by Councilor McLeod, second by Councilor McCabe, that the request for a major variance to permit a 212 square foot mural on the south facing facade of the existing old triangle building at 189 Great George Street, PID 344069, be approved, subject to the following conditions. 1, a placard be placed on south facade in location visible from the public sidewalk, providing background information regarding the artist and the original artwork. And 2, mural frame to be constructed with a natural wood material.
Question?
Questions been called? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, 9-0. Councillor Twill absent. Okay, sir, do you want to read the next one?
Yes, Your Worship. Your Worship.
Just one second. Is that 320?
Yes.
Captain Drive, so the deputy and Councillor Yanka, please remove yourself from the meeting. Please read there, sir.
Your Worship, moved by Councilor McLeod, second by Councilor McCabe, that the application submitted by the developer, Cordova Realty, DP Murphy, to accept the traffic study prepared by Grandol Engineering dated November 5th, 2019, for the development at 320 Capitol Drive, PID 387365, in order to permit a Tim Hortons drive-through restaurant stacking and queuing spaces be approved subject to the following conditions. 1. Construction of the proposed new right turning lane as proposed in the Crandall traffic study as shown in Appendix A of the report. 2. Revise the site plan submitted by DP Murphy shown as Appendix C of the report. And 3. Signing of the development agreement outlining all conditions of approval and the costs associated with the street infrastructure upgrades to implement the drive-through and establish timelines when the roadwork must be completed.
Okay, question, so Councillor McLeod and Councillor Rivard has a question.
Yeah, sure.
Commentary, or
Not so
both?
much a question, but thank you, Your Worship. Thank you, Councillor McLeod, for your report. So as Council's aware, I did stand up here last year with regards to this application. The initial one, I wasn't in favor of it at the time. I thought there was a lot of shortcomings. And, you know, I heard from my residents, and it just didn't make a lot of sense to me. A lot of credit has to go to Ryan Gillis and the applicants for wanting, I guess, to work with, to find a solution. And as Councillor McCabe said one time down Brackley Point Road, I think there was a development that you know was denied by council. They worked with, they listened to the public, they came back with a different plan and worked out. So in this sense, same thing, right? It's always nice when you have an applicant who's willing to work with council and recognize the problems, put in the proper changes, so they did. In this case, so one of the big ones was the left-hand turn into the drive-through, allowing people still straight through on May Point, which it does look like that in the plan. They are doing that with also right slip lane on the way out. So I do believe with those changes that it will work. So I applaud the applicant for taking the time and doing that. The only thing I would say that in the development agreement, Mr. Forbes, the slip lane leading out to the Capitol Drive would be the least important of things that get done right away. But I do believe that when the drive-through is open, I do believe that left lane only in needs to be established at the same time, because that is the key piece. So if we had a timeline where, you know, that was done and then have the slip lane onto the Capitol Drive maybe done next year, in the summer or something, when there's, you know, paving's available, hot asphalt, that would be acceptable for me. So I'm okay with that if those are in the development agreement. Thank you.
Can you answer that, Mr. Forbes?
Yeah, Your Worship, so we had met with the applicant's representative. We met Friday, Mr. Adams and I, and you know, they're looking for a building permit fairly soon because of COVID and everything else. They need to fit up that space. It's a tiny little space, but they need to get it fitted up. But as a part of the development agreement, I'm looking to Mr. Adams, and I'm looking for all of the clarity that I'm pretty confident I know what you folks want. The fit up may start earlier, but again, there will be triggers in that development agreement, and if I'll do my best, and if it comes to an impasse, I'll bring it back. But again, I do think the developer's representative is indicating those are details that can be worked out. So I'm quite prepared to work with Mr. Adams to get what he wants. The timing on it is, as Councillor Rivard has indicated, some parts are more critical than others. It did reference the right turn lane. 2024 was the trigger on that, but I do think that there is the geometry in the roadway in front of that access to do that fairly soon. But I'll defer to Mr. Adams when we do up the development agreement as to the timing on that. But
Just by coincidence, Mr. Adams is right behind you.
well, excellent. So maybe Mr.
Do you want to
Adams,
yield to Mr. Adams to provide some professional opinion there, Councillor Rivard?
Yeah, just if you don't mind me.
Sure, go ahead.
Just, thanks, Alex. I don't know how much you heard, Scott. but we were just referring to the left lane into. I get the right lane, slip lane onto the Capitol Drive will require a lot of infrastructure, a lot of work. It's not going to be overnight. I guess my question is, the left lane in, does that require anything more than paint? and just kind of realigning the, I don't know, the road.
Great question. So we only had a chance to start looking at this since Friday, since we met with the applicant. And we quickly looked at it today. It's going to be very tight with what's existing to make it work. We do have to, it was a very high level preliminary look on what's on the road right now to make sure the turning radiuses and everything work. It's close. We think it does fit without having to do too much additional work with removing concrete curb and gutters and all that, but we have to take a little bit more in-depth look just to confirm that.
It's doable.
Pardon me?
It's doable.
It potentially doable, that's correct,
So-
with what's existing, yes.
Yeah, so,
Just
one more follow-up. So-
wrap up
So, yeah, no, I will. It's an important issue.
Oh, yeah.
If I'm not
We're listening.
here,
That's- we're all
you're
listening.
getting phone calls. I guess, so even if it is tight,
Mhm.
and it's not the best case scenario right now, can we not put that in temporarily for, let's say, until the proper fixes take place, as opposed to the other way, which is wait until? I'd rather
Yeah.
see, if it can be done, let's do it. and then-
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah.
Good there, Council?
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
If I may.
You want to sum it up there, sir?
Yeah, just, thank you very much, Council, for your questions, and just, this is good, it's really good to see the two departments are working together.
Collaboration.
And I think it's very workable. At our meeting, the engineer was on the line and he heard exactly what we wanted. So, I'm sure it's just a matter of us staying hard and fast on what we want. And then there's the safeguards in it as well, right? If after 48 hours we find that this is happening, then changes are going to happen. The province is on board with that and the city is on board with that. So it's got to work or they won't be able to use it. And the 6 extra spaces too is a plus to help in that queuing problem. But and some education also on the cross hatching, I think is important, so that people understand what that means and which roads. Because I know we have one in front of the police station and people are not quite geared to that. So I think we need to do some PR work on that as well, which will all help that situation. So
Yeah. Thank you, Councilor
Thank you.
Patton.
Do you want to speak again?
Yes.
Go ahead.
So
The
again,
chief engineer, I believe the
Again,
chief engineer.
the left lane is key because
Yeah.
again, the reason why it's key is that if the left lane is backing up and stacking, then if you have that throughway
Yeah.
into Main Point, then people will realize that they're not going to queue back into, and they have an opportunity to go straight
Right.
and use the private road next, or maybe just not get a cup of coffee that day at Tim Hortons,
Yeah.
that location. So again, that they have that choice. In the other one, they didn't have that choice.
Yeah.
So this will help. That's why I think we
Yeah,
get that left
exactly.
lane. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Good. Chris.
Councilor Ramsey, question
No,
called?
I'm-
Question called, did you call the question?
Question called.
Question's called. All those in favor, please put up your hand. 7-0. Thank you, Scott, Mr. Adams.
Thank you.
Do you have another?
Get the other 2 in?
And you can
Bring
ask.
the other two back in.
Okay, sir.
Yes, Your Worship, moved by Councilor McLeod, second by Councilor McCabe, that the request to amend sections of the zoning and development bylaw PHZD.2 and sections of the official plan PHOPA.1 as attached be approved and read as follows. Zoning and development bylaw PHZD.2 amendments. Amend sections 1.4 and 8.1.1, tables to include water lot, commercial, and water lot open space, water, symbols and requirements. 2, create new sections 35, water lot commercial zone, and sections of 36, water lot open space water zone, and subsections and subsequent sections being renumbered. Number 3, amend section 44.1.7, parking provisions table to include parking space requirements for water lot uses. 4, amend sections 45.3.1.q, prohibited signs to allow for roof signs in floating structures in the in the water lot zone. 5, amend section 45.12.4, fascia signs provisions table to insert water lot zone. 6, insert new section 45.17, roof sign regulations, and all subsequent sections being renumbered. 7, Appendix A, definition of appending the definition for a building and by adding a definition for floating commercial structure, float home, live aboard vessels, marina commercial, open space water, and water lot. And number 8, amend Appendix G, zoning map to reflect water lot commercial and water lot open space water zone. Official plan OPA.1 amendments, create new subsection 3.5.4, waterfront development. And 2, amend Appendix A, future land use map to reflect water lot designation.
Okay. It has been read. Councillor Yankoff from Ward 1, do you wish to speak to it?
I do. I
Would you
just
please stand?
Oh, certainly.
And just-
I just wanted to make sure that, I know that the city has an easement that goes along the West Street residential area. And I just wanted to make sure that we have on public record that that easement is not for anything more than just to gain access to work on existing infrastructure that happens to be there that the city has. So, yeah, and that the residents were just concerned about that, and I think we cleared it up in our last meeting, but I just wanted to.
Councillor McLeod, just for the public record, that
Sure,
is
yeah.
that's
Yes, we discussed that at our meeting, and that easement is for water and sewer and infrastructure work, and no other use. And we just want to say thanks to also to the planning staff. This has been quite a job for them for the last 2 years, and the whole purpose of this really is to provide a safe place for people to come and enjoy the water and have a bite to eat, and that's what this is all about. It's been kind of, if you read to the package, it's been quite a long show of temporary uses, and at the end of the day, this is just going to make a safe environment for everybody. So again, Alex, thanks to you. Thank you.
it could be had, the Charlottetown Harbor Authority and the business owners and operators down in the waterfront that were part of the process too, right, Mr. Forbes?
Yes, yes.
All
So,
collaborating.
Yeah, all of the,
All collaborating.
Yeah, they were very, helpful, but they're all participants in this as well. So I think it provides a roadmap for everybody to follow, hopefully in the future.
Councillor Blair.
Thank you. Just to clarify, from Councilor McLeod, so on West Street, that right away, that's for the public use. That's not just for water and sewer. That's a right away that people can use to go to water. That is.
It's an easement.
It's the city property.
So,
From West Street?
just
That's
point,
the-
Mr. Kelly, do you have a point of order?
No, not point of order, but just a point of clarification, Your Worship. There is a easement right away from west straight down to the water. What's being spoken about here is the one in front of the homes, coming from Victoria Park along West Street. That's what was being referred to with that discussion. But you are correct, we do have a right-of-way that goes right down to the water, that is correct.
I don't think the city wants to lose that.
No.
That's not being lost here, that is being maintained, and that is for access to the water for those with kayaks or other things to go
Right.
there.
But
What's being spoke out here is the frontage in front of the homes along the waterfront.
And the water lots are owned by the property owner, so those water lots go out to the channel, is it low tide or high tide?
Well, it's just, it's a unique situation where
Yes, it
they
is.
own 100, 150, 200 feet right into the Charlottetown Harbor, and that's their land.
Confederation.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think it'd be nice if Public Works, might be nice to talk about putting a fence up. They have that right away identified. Because there's been concern over the years about just the city losing it, just to, some kind of claiming to their property. And I don't know if there's a lot of people know that they have that access down there.
And there's 2 points, one on Sydney and one on West.
You want to clarify?
Just to clarify, yes.
Just some.
So I think the staff would, or sorry, the residents on West Street would certainly appreciate that. I think originally down the road, when that was all put on paper, there were supposed to be signs up as well.
That's right.
Asking the resident not to cut through, that this is private property. So that, I think the residents would love that.
Yeah.
And we probably should follow up and have that done as well. So
Could work through Public Works on
Yeah,
that.
Good, thank you very much, Councilor Barron.
Working outside the silos.
There you go.
Okay. Councilor
Questions
Ramsey?
called.
Questions called. All those in favor, please raise your hand. 9-0. You got some,
Yes, First reading, the official plan, PHOPA.1, to adopt the official plan amendments for PHOPA.1-029, to amend sections of the official plan by creating a new subsection 3.5.4, waterfront development, amend Appendix A, future land use map of the City of Charlottetown official plan to reflect the water lot designation. Moved by Councilor McLeod, second by Councilor Cave, be resolved that the official plan amendment, PHOPA.1-029, as pertains to the official plan amendments as attached, be adopted.
shall it carry?
Pass.
Your Worship, moved by Councilor McLeod, second by Councilor Cave. Sorry, and, I'll come back to it, sorry, zoning and development bylaw PH-ZD.2 to adopt bylaw PH-ZD.2055, a bylaw to amend the zoning and development bylaw to amend sections of the zoning and development bylaw PH-ZD.2 pertaining to sections 1.4, sections 8.1.1, new section 35 and 36, section 44, section 45, Appendix A, and Appendix G, Your Worship.
Shall it pass?
Your Worship, moved by Councilor McLeod, second by Councilor McCabe, be resolved that the bylaw to amend the City of Charlottetown zoning and development bylaw, PHZD.2055, as pertains to the zoning and development bylaw amendments as attached, to be read a first time, and approved, and that it be read a second time at the next public meeting of council, Your Worship.
Shall it pass? Is there another reading?
There's two more, Your Worship.
Yeah, just one second. Just one second.
There's two.
Okay, sir.
Your Worship, moved by Councilor McLeod, second by Councilor McCabe, excuse me, where the bylaw to amend the City of Charlottetown zoning and development bylaw, PH-ZD.2-053, as pertains to 38 Palmer's Lane, PID 275156, and a portion of the property at 40 Palmer's Lane, PID 275164, as attached, was read and approved the first time, November 8th, 2021. Be it therefore resolved that the said bylaw be read a second time and a approved, Your Worship. Again, moved by Councilor McLeod, second by Councilor McCabe.
Shall it pass?
And that the bylaw be allowed to operate.
And shall it pass?
No.
So we have one opposed.
There you go.
One opposed.
That's right. Thank you.
Say it 6 times, well.
Okay, that's it, sir.
No, another one, Your Worship.
Thank you.
Your Worship, whereas the bylaw to amend the City of Charlottetown zoning development bylaw, PH-ZD.2054, as pertains to 25 McLeod Crescent, PID 1106400 and 1123686, as attached, was read and approved a first time on November 8th, 2021. Moved by Councilor McLeod, second by Councilor Cave. Be resolved that the said bylaw be read a second time and approved.
Shall pass.
And Your Worship, moved by Councilor McLeod, second by Councilor Cave, it be resolved that the said bylaw be now adopted.
Shall pass.
That's right.
That's a last one. Keep an eye on this. And 3 motions with that. Good. Okay, Councilor McLeod, thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Strategic priorities? Councilor Ramsey?
Thank you, Your Worship. We met November 25th, the minutes are in your package. The Youth Engagement Committee met on November 30th, and the minutes are also included in your package. We have a procedure bylaw first reading, and a bylaw to repeal certain bylaws first reading. We have no resolutions, I'm sorry. And if I may take a second, Your Worship, I'd like to, since it's our last meeting for Christmas, wish you and your family and all members of council and staff and everybody at City Hall and our corporation a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
So that means we're not meeting on the 20th?
Well, you can say it again. Or you can call in. You can call in. Did you have something to read, sir?
Yes, Your Worship. Yes, Your Worship. To amend the City of Charlottetown Procedure Bylaw 208-19 in response to provincial legislation and regulatory updates related to the electronic meeting requirements, states of emergency, public health, and otherwise, confirm obligations of transparency for public access, the appointment of an independent officer, and to correct any clerical, grammatical, and topographical errors, Your Worship. Moved by Councillor Ramsey, second by Councillor Drawn, that resolved that the bylaw to amend the City of Charlottetown Procedure Bylaw be read first time.
Shall pass.
Your Worship.
Oh, just 1 second, sir. Hold on. Question?
Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you, Councillor Ramsey. Just a little bit concerned on section 9.2 there, where we talk about verbatim minutes and not being able to exercise that option. Just the last line where it says a request can be made to the CAO for approval. I'm just wondering what goes into making an approval or disallowing a request from council to have verbatim minutes provided.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. From what we understood, we checked with a lot of municipalities around. We're the only ones that were basically doing it at that time, and now the minutes, everything is streamlined and online. So if someone wanted certain minutes in this meeting, they can go ahead and they would probably get a hold of someone at City Hall, I believe Tracy or that, and they would say, okay, it happened November 2nd, for example, paragraph 4, if you just want to reverse it or review it right there. And if they still want the minutes, I guess we can have them and put them down at the front desk. I think that was, or no, Mr. Kelly?
So just to be clear, from council's direction at the last meeting, that verbatim would be used for legal and matters such as IRAC appeals, but the intent is not to do verbatim and to provide, as you said, an option for those to be advised that the hearing, or sorry, that part of the meeting is at 19.4 minutes, and here's the clip and those kind of things, but the intent is not to do verbatim other than for internal purposes and for legal matters.
Yeah, and just to close up, there wasn't a whole lot of certain requests for them, but the odd one came in. So this is why they looked at that aspect of it.
Deputy Mayor, you're going to, just before, I thought we asked where it says 9.2, shall we could use may. Is that all right, legal counsel? When taken in the form of minutes, may not be recorded. That gives a little more flexibility, does it not? Shall is we. That's, you must. May. Do you want to just answer that? Is that all right?
Yeah, shall when used is mandatory.
But could we use may?
You could.
That's what I thought we.
I think, I guess we did this.
I brought it up. Anyways.
We had this whole discussion.
Yeah.
We had passed, and now we're at this discussion, and we already passed it.
Well, I know, I asked about may, and I thought that was going to be vetted out.
I think, remember, Your Worship, I think the discussion was, and it was designed that because we have it all taped, and just as the CEO had said, anyone who wants some of that verbatim can be sent. in this particular
Mhm.
meeting, this particular time, what you're looking for is right here between this and
Yep.
this.
I
And,
understand.
and the only one that was ever looking for any verbatim was one counselor.
Mhm.
So I think at the end of the day, it was said, this is better means for the communication for anyone that wants to know how the meeting went.
Yeah,
And they can get that particular clip, or they can get a feeling from the whole meeting if they want.
yeah. No,
And that was voted on the council.
yeah. The reason I mentioned May, because there are times when the internet or YouTube or our archives will not pick it up, so then you will not have the availability of those minutes on live stream. May just gives a little more flexibility, and I thought we were gonna look into that, but it didn't happen.
I thought if it wasn't recorded, then you wouldn't have the verbatim minutes anyway.
Well,
Not
no,
recorded, how do you get a verbatim minute?
If-
Because that's what she goes by.
if we're assuming that live stream is working and it's not working, then we don't have verbatim minutes. We have to rely on the recording clerk to take care of those minutes.
Right.
Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, and thanks for your answer, Councilor Garza. And I agree, the minutes are recorded. I guess not everyone would have access to a computer or savvy enough to go back to, you know, whatever section that they're sent to. I guess, I just would like to get my answer, or my question answered on this, like when it says the request will be directed to the CAO for approval. I'm just wondering what parameters will go into whether it's approved or not approved. I'm not arguing with the discussion, we had a discussion, I get that. Just the last line, I just want to know what the parameters are to get it approved.
Mr. Kelly, would you like to answer that?
From what I understand here, based upon the discussion at council previously, it was made very clear that council, for the majority, had said that it would be used for internal and legal purposes only. So unless it's extenuating circumstances, like if it was maybe a failure of power or other things
Right.
that didn't work, that would be it. But other than that, as per what I heard from council, is that it would only be used for a very rare circumstance. Other
And
than
I
legal.
think what the mayor is saying, it's extenuating circumstances, if there's an issue there, then that would
Yeah.
open up the door for getting verbatim minutes
Right.
on that particular
Other
issue.
than that,
It's
legal
not
and-
actually recorded.
Other than that, internal and legal, that's what we were doing.
And that we would provide opportunity for people that maybe wouldn't have access.
At the
that
library or other places,
request if
or
they
here,
wanted to come
or
in,
here
we would
elsewhere.
find that out.
You're exactly right, Councilor McKee. I don't know, does that answer your question, Deputy Mayor? Probably yes or no, I guess.
Yeah, no, I guess, and I don't have a problem with the bylaw, and I know we talked about it, and it's a great discussion. I guess I want to make sure that we're being fair to everybody, and I know, you know, everything's, like I say, recorded. I just don't want anyone to feel that they can't get information that they want because, like I say, they don't have access to a computer, or they have, you know, impairments that would prevent them from accessing this kind of stuff. So I just want to make sure it's the last line where it says the CAO can make an approval. I don't want to ask for something or someone else asks for something and not know what the rules are. We might as well figure out what the rules are before we say yes to it.
We may know what it is right here today, December 13th, 2021, but 5 years down the road, when I look at Shell, we don't have to provide anything. That's why I wanted to flesh out the word may, so it provides a little leeway to have those minutes available if we need them, if anyone needs them.
And again, Your Worship, this is what council directed.
Yeah,
If council
sure.
wants to change it, then that's up to the Worship. but
It's
we're
right on
just
the
taking
floor
the-
now. Do you want to leave it as Shell or?
Well, I think for me, Worship, I think, to me, I'm okay with leaving it, because if there's a reason, then it's up to the discretion of the CEO to say, yes, we can let that go. And if that reason becomes that something wrong with the video, or we don't have that section, then that's one example that he gives that, you know what, you can approve that. If there's someone that comes in, like Councilor Cody said, that doesn't have a computer or whatever at home, it runs by him.
It's just,
So I think the leeway's there.
yeah, it's just a contradiction to me. It shall not be recorded verbatim, and then it says request for verbatim will be directed to the chief administrative officer. It's contrary. And again, I question it then and I question it now. It's not consistent, if you know what I mean.
Well, but the line before says internal legal purposes only. Right?
That's all it's available for.
Okay.
Yeah, well, then take out the last line then, I guess. Like, you can't have it both ways. That's why I want to know what the rules are before we vote. And I know we had the discussion, I'm not trying to be difficult, I want to know what the rules are before we sit here and say yes.
What's the wish of council?
Well, I guess if you take out the last sentence, you're taking away the opportunity.
You'll have no opportunity at all.
Yeah, so I think you want to have that
You'll have
opportunity.
no opportunity.
For those situations that may arise that we don't know that.
Councillor Duffy. I'm sure you thought this through. Did you read something on the Robert's Rules of Order?
But anytime it comes to a judgment call at City Hall, we know that when there's no other avenue to assist us, it's up to the CAO as the chief of administration in the city to make a call or or do something to get us out of the stalemate. For example, if I want something to be reviewed by our solicitor here tonight, I'd have to go to Mr. Kelly and ask him, would he make arrangements with Ms. Campbell to provide a legal opinion for me. So, like, as the chief administrative officer, if we're stuck and who's going to make the judgment call, I would say it's the chief administrative officer, and that's what it says here. And I don't think our recording secretary there, I think she'll agree, we don't have all that many, but when we do have, I don't think we're in the business of typing out 14 pages of something, you know, like it's got some kind of common sense has to prevail. And I don't think it's that big of an issue, other than people just being curious, maybe. That's it. Thank you, Your Worship.
Kevin? You're on.
I have a question. So,
Go right ahead there, sir.
just
Question to
make
the
this real
chair of the
short.
committee?
Make this real short is the fact that if one of my constituents is having an issue with, because they don't have a computer, then the onus will be on me to help find that information for that person, which could be coming up to Peter Kelly and say, Peter, can I have a computer hooked up? Or how do I get it on my phone so I can take it and shower on my phone, or give that person what was said, right? That's, you know, and the trouble with verbatim, my second point is, it's only how it's written by the secretary, but you could read that line and kind of take it in 2 or 3 different ways, where when you have the flow of the meeting there in front of you, when you hear the person saying something, it gives much more meaning to what was being said. And I think that's the real positive, and that's why most of the municipalities have moved in that direction. But I'm sure we all here would help anyone that's wanting to get this information. I'm sure there's not a person in this room I don't think wouldn't do that, and you know, to help another councillor find information for somebody. I certainly would anyway. So I don't know if that's any help to anybody or not.
Councillor McCabe?
And I agree, and I guess when we put things in policy, when we're hammering here between 2 sentences contradicting each other, I agree that it should probably be cleared up. If people are reading this in this little chamber here and arguing whether or not it's clear or it's not clear, or I'm reading it this way and I'm reading it that way, is a typo. That would be my response to that.
Okay,
Yeah.
move on?
Yeah, move on.
Question call?
Let's go.
Okay. Shall I carry? Contrary. Any contrary?
The system has detected that a few lines are still connected to the conference and will attempt to disconnect.
Okay, 9-0. Okay, whatever you get.
Your Worship, moved by Councillor Ramsey, second by Councillor Drawn. Be resolved that the bylaw be now approved as a city bylaw and that it be entitled the City of Charlottetown bylaw to repeal certain bylaws. Oh, sorry, I already gave it. No, Worship.
We already read that one, didn't we?
I think I gave it to you, Worship. Sorry. Resolved that the bylaw be now approved as a bylaw, a city bylaw, and that it be entitled the City of Charlottetown procedural bylaw, and that it be read a second time at the next public meeting of council, moved by Councillor Ramsey, second by Councillor Drawn.
Shall I carry? So I'm going 9-0, right? Okay, just wanted to run that. Okay.
Your Worship, moved by Councillor Ramsey, second by Councillor Drawn. Occasionally bylaws are repealed but not replaced, therefore a new repeal bylaw should be duly passed to allow this process. The City of Charlottetown bylaw to repeal certain bylaws which was initially approved and adopted on August 26, 1997 shall be repealed and replaced with the attached bylaw to repeal certain bylaws, number 2021-RCB-01. Resolved that the attached bylaw, the City of Charlottetown repeal bylaw, be resolved that the attached bylaw, City of Charlottetown bylaw to repeal certain bylaws, 2021 RCB-01, be read at first time, moved by Council Ramsey, but second by Council Drawn.
Shall pass.
Your worship, moved by Council Ramsey, second by Council Drawn, that the bylaw be now approved as a city bylaw and that it be entitled the City of Charlottetown bylaw to repeal certain bylaws, 2021-RCB-01, and that it be read a second time at the next public meeting of council, your worship.
Shall pass. Thank you. That's it, Councilor Ramsey?
Thank you very much,
Thank
Your
you,
Worship.
Finance, Deputy Mayor Jason Cody.
Thank you, Your Worship. Our committee met, the report is in your package. We don't have any resolutions for council to consider tonight. But if there's any questions or comments, I'll do my best to answer them.
Any questions, comments? You're gonna get off scot-free, like, Nancy?
Right.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you.
Councilor Yankoff, Human Resources.
Thank you, Your Worship. The Human Resources Communications and Administration Committee met on December 7th. The minutes are included in your package. And we have 2 resolutions for your consideration this evening, and if anyone has any questions, I will do my best to answer. Thank you.
Any questions? Do you want to read the first resolution?
Yes, Your Worship, moved by Councilor Yankoff, second by Councilor Deputy Mayor Cody. Resolved that as per the management and non-union compensation and benefits policy, council approve an annual economic increase of 2% for management non-union employees to match rates negotiated by QP 830, QP 501, QP 501 WWTP for the year 2022, Your Worship.
Question called? You have a question?
No question.
Question called? All those in favor, please raise your hand. 9-0.
Your Worship, moved by Councilor Yankoff, second by Councilor Deputy Mayor Cody, that the City of Charlottetown accept the scent-free policy as per the attached document effective December 13th, 2021.
Questions called? All those in favor, please raise your hand. 9-0. So that 2% increase for non-union upset, is that also,
Obviously, it's still being negotiated.
but does that filter into council also?
Your Worship, the way it works is that at the end of all negotiations, council will get the increase of the lowest of the negotiated sum of Your Worship.
Will be in favor, the lowest, okay.
And that'll go back to be retroactive to the start, Your Worship.
Thank you, Bethany.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Protective and Emergency Services, Councilor Greg Rivera, Ward 7. Best council, did you say, or the best ward?
Best ward.
Okay.
Hard argument to win in this room, isn't it? Anyway, Protective Services Emergency Committee met on November 23rd, 2021. Minutes are in your package. There's one resolution for consideration tonight. But before I sit down, I just wanted to say a few words, I guess, about our police department. I was invited to, on Friday afternoon, to Priority Tactical Response and Containment Unit monthly training session. It was Friday afternoon. Your Worship, you were there for a short bit. Training focused on less lethal options to ending active threat situations. And I was there for about, I guess, Chief, for 2.5 hours, and watched the officers in action. And it was quite spectacular. You know, when I see on social media all the time how you know, people continue to put down police officers and everything else, but I can promise you the amount of hard work and the amount of pride that they show. You know, these training sessions. Again, this is just a training session, but they do it every day, same as our fire department. And you know, it was great to watch, and I appreciate it. I think all council should also take the opportunity to go out sometime and watch the training, because it is great. And I'm glad that we're equipping our officers with the proper resources to be able to handle situations when they do arise. Because again, as one officer said, the days of, you know, what ifs are gone. It's just a matter of, you know, when. Hopefully never, but we're equipped, and the officers put on a pretty fantastic show to show that you know, they can handle it. So good job, and pass it out to your officers. Also, road checks as part of the road safety initiative to combat impaired driving. I'm not sure if any councillors took part in that, handing out scrapers and stuff and everything else. I had a chance to do it for about 45 minutes one day, and I think, Mary, you were out for quite a
Hour and a half.
Yeah, and I don't know who else went out, but again, great initiative. And I guess thanks to the police department for putting it on. Any questions? I'll be happy to answer.
We gave you free scrapers,
Yeah.
clean the windshield, so you can have a clear view of the road.
Clear the fog.
Councillor Rivera, I had to leave because I went down to the Legislative Assembly and was there for the presentation by Acting Deputy Chief Jennifer McCarron and Detective Tara Watts, correct? And they made an excellent presentation on the issue of drug spiking, and they showed high professionalism and acknowledged the true sense of protective services, that is, protect and serve the community. So big congratulations, big shout out to both of them, Chief, because they held their own for an hour and a half of questioning and presentation, and was well presented. So thank you to Councillor Bayer. Councillor McKay?
Thank you. And Councillor Barrett, thanks for your report. And I guess I'm just wondering tonight, I've been receiving calls from residents on Angus Drive, still with the access road to Mills, where when we approved this as council, we were told there would be no truck traffic using Angus Drive as an access point into Mills. They would use the roundabouts, they would come in off St. Peter's Road, they would come out off St. Peter's Road. And I've had numerous calls from residents, footage showing that there are trucks using that. And I understand, it's an easy point of access, it's faster. There's signage now up from the province and our Public Works Department. So I'm wondering if maybe, and I know I've spoken to our community police officer, by the way, again, I can't say enough about that program. He's doing the best he can, but if there's anything more we can do to deter behavior of these trucks. Sorry, Jason.
Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you, Councillor McCabe. This, I guess, goes back to what I was saying about Capital Drive too, right? The infrastructure has to be in place prior to. It's pretty hard to put the infrastructure in place to stop this after the fact. It's going to become driver behavior. So I agree with you 100%. I'll turn it over to the Chief, notice maybe a couple of ideas maybe that we can do to help police the area a little better and ease the residents' minds.
Thank you, Your Worship. Certainly we've been made aware of the issue, and I can assure you that our community action team will follow up on these concerns. We'll also attempt to identify any businesses that are associated to these infractions and the issue, and contact them directly and see if we can mitigate the residents' concerns there. And we'll report back to committee on what we come up with.
Thank you.
Good. Councillor McKay? Good.
That's perfect.
Councillor Bernard, your question, sir?
I just wanted to bring out, I don't know the whole story on this, I'm just going by what I heard in the media, but I think it's another good news story for the drone. Apparently there was a firearms incident, firearms threat, and with the use of the drone, they were able to subdue the gentleman, reduce the threat. So it's just another good reason why sometimes we don't realize what the equipment's always for when it comes to us. There's a lot of good reasons given, but this is another one that just took a lot of people out of harm's way, and they were able to utilize the threat. Good job, guys.
Councillor Bernard?
Yeah, and Councillor Bernard, it was great. So when I was at this tactical training, since they had the drone up, And we were able to actually, talk to the drone operator and actually see, what
300
they were
meters
doing.
in.
And it was pretty,
Yeah.
Given the heads up to the officers prior to, and listening to the communication between the two, it was imperative and it was great. And I'll tell you what, this drone is already paid for itself.
Yeah, for sure.
Already, and I'll tell you what, it's going to continue paying
for
for
sure.
itself for years to come. So,
No, I agree.
thank you.
Amy. Councilor Ramsey.
Thank you. Just to reinforce, overnight parking ban is on now, correct?
Yes.
In fact, I just received a phone call before I got here, Chief, that's why I'm bringing it up. But do our officers go knock on the doors first and say, you can't park there? Like, as you know, and we all know, some homes got 6 cars, 7 cars. And I know it's not snowing tonight and all that stuff, but how much enforcement is there going to be with that? Or are you allowed to say, is that just operational?
Well, Your Worship, what I think, I can say with great confidence is our officers do everything they can to notify residents before having to resort to towing their vehicles and make every efforts. They can identify a registered owner by running their license plate and attempting calls. But again, that's within reason and resources available given what else might be happening in the city. So, but I can assure residents that we take no enjoyment out of towing vehicles, and our officers, do make every attempt to contact owners before that happens. And we advise people to be cognizant of the warnings coming out from our public works about snowfall, and we'll do our part to make sure that we can not inconvenience anybody any more than we have to.
Councilor Yankoff?
Thank you, Chief.
And I don't know if this is a public works question or police services, so I'll start here. And for the past many years, on the evenings when the parking ban is on, the residents in Ward 1 had the option of parking in front of Confederation Landing. For this year, for whatever reason, CAGC has the gate down, and I'm not able to figure out where this new thing came from. My residents have not been notified, and if somebody would just shed a little light on what we're doing with that, and maybe it is a public works thing, but I just have residents that have always been able to park there, and there was nothing, okay.
That might be a great question for Andrew Kelly.
CAO, that he can bring it back to CADC?
So that issue
Kelly?
is under review and discussion with the CDC as we speak. So when the councillor contacted us, we are trying to work out those details. It was not used last year due to COVID, and so that sort of fell by the wayside. We are trying to kickstart it again, so we are under review and see what we can do.
Great, all right. So, just as a
Go ahead.
follow-up, will there be some sort of a communication out there to the residents? Because if we could just put something out there that it's possibly in the work, 'cause I'm just getting a lot of calls and I don't really have an answer.
So we are trying not to put any misinformation, but in the interim, should they wish to park in the parkades after hours, they can do that, and they can, that laws are by 7 a.m. the next day, so they can park overnight in the parkades. But in the interim, we are trying to find resolve to the other issue.
Councilor McLeod?
Thank you very much. And just to add to that, Peter, is there not some development agreements as well with off-site parking? That parking lot being used for that purpose? Some of the restaurants on that area, they hope they could actually park in that area. So that's something planning should be involved with as well.
So from what I understand, Councillor, there is one of the parking lots that is attached to a development agreement, to usage from one of the restaurants down there, but that's usually for operational time frame, not for after hours.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have a couple of resolutions, sir?
Yes, Your Worship. With one, and that is that moved by Councillor Bard, second by Councillor and A. Ramsey, that City Council approved the amount of $51,507.35 plus HST for live scan fingerprinting unit from Thales DIS Canada Inc., and that the funding requires the usage of $47,760.57, the unused balance previously allocated in the 2020-2021 capital budget for an OSCID server, And further, that this also requires additional allocation of $11,546.48 to the current capital budget, Your Worship.
Questions called? All those in favor, please raise your hand. 9-0.
Thanks, folks.
Thank you. Chief Donald, Chief. And the next report is Council.
Okay, the Council Advisory Committee met November 26th and December 3rd. The open draft minutes are included in the package. We have no resolutions for tonight consideration, but if anyone has any questions, I can do my best to answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Mika. Parks, Recreation, and Leisure Activities Committee.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Councilor Terry Bernard.
Your Worship, the committee, although the notes say we didn't meet, we actually met November 17th. It was over the capital budget. So there is no resolutions for council consideration. A couple of comments, Your Worship. We talked about last year's budget. We were looking for some funding. We talked about buying some rent kits. We had a number of them that we were hoping to get. The funding did not come through. So we have talked about the city's purchasing two. We're hoping that all the equipment comes in for this year. We're told delivery date of those two is between 2 and 4 weeks. So hope to get them, Your Worship, in and up and running. We're already going to look at what these kits look like. They're pretty nice from what I've seen. And today, just arrived today, the schematic that we've been waiting for the Simmons Arena. So, Your Worship, I did have a chance to glance over it. I think people are going to be pretty impressed, but again, it just came in today, so I want to take it to review it with management and the committee, and then we'll take it back here in January. So it's good to have that. There's a lot of change made. As you know, we've talked in here before about we've moved the track up to the second level, gave it a lot more storage space. Some of the rooms are made a little bit bigger. So looking really good. We will, once it comes to the committee now, then we'll take it to council here and let them have a look at it before we get the final design. Your Worship, I too just want to take this opportunity to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas. Hopefully that they get to spend good quality time with their family and friends. It's the time of year that we try and slow down and enjoy our time off. So, Your Worship, other than that, if there's any questions on parts, best answer.
Any calling to Dominique LeBlanc of her application? Federal Minister response for infrastructure?
Did I call? I did not call. No.
Well, you should try to find
That
out.
would be the NP would be here.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
You should. Any questions? Great.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Frank. Merci beaucoup. Joyeux Noël. Okay. Water and wastewater utility, Councilor Robert Brown.
Thank you, Mayor Brown. The Water and Sewer Utility Committee did not have a meeting since the last meeting in council. We discussed a number of items via email through our manager. We have two resolutions for your consideration tonight. Our manager also wanted to let everyone know that we have 1,700 customers signed up for e-billing, so there's quite a savings to the utility, but they seem to be dropping off a little bit in this last month or so, maybe we can come up with an idea to raffle off another rain barrel or something to pick up some interest. So other than that, I wish everyone a Merry Christmas as well, and if you have any questions, I'll try to do my best to answer. Thank you.
Okay. Any questions? Okay, Mr. Kelly, you want to read off that?
Yes, Your Worship. Moved by Councilor Drawn, second by Deputy Mayor Cody, that the City Council accept the tender from SNF Canada for chemicals at the Charlottetown Pollution Control Plant in the amount of $137,874.30 plus applicable taxes, Your Worship.
Okay. Questions on the perfume? All those in favor, please raise your hand. 9-0. Okay. Got another one there, sir?
Yes, Your Worship. Moved by Councilor Drawn, second by Deputy Mayor Cody, that City Council accept the RFP from Coles Associates for engineering services, water, sewer utility in the amount of $19,800 plus applicable taxes, Your Worship.
Questions called? Questions called. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Okay. Sir. Is Richard on the phone? Thank you, sir. Thank you, Councilor Drawn. Public Works and Urban Beautification. Councilor Taylor Platt.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. Just before getting into my report, I received an award on behalf of the city here recently for the Charlottetown Accessible Taxi Grant Program. That was a program shared amongst the city and the province, and the initial goal is to try to promote some accessible taxi vehicles in the city. It's been a hard request to get filled, but we figured if we put money in place, it might sooner or later one of the taxi cabs or a company of sort would take advantage of this money to help install on your vehicle or to help with buying a new one. So there's Pat and the Elements of Partners. The police department played a big role in this because we had to put bylaws together and everything. So it was a good movement by the city, and Resource Abilities, which is the former PEI Council, was able to head an award night of people that gave a lot to that organization, so the city was recognized. So just want to make sure everybody was aware of that. There's a plaque, and I'll be giving it to the mayor to put it in his office here. And one more thing, just before talking about Christmas and Merry Christmas to everyone. I'm talking to Stephen McFadden today, supervisor for all the Christmas activities that the city has been partaking in, and we just felt both a shout out should go out to some of these employees. They've taken it on with often overload endeavors. So the following staff were responsible for the building, displaying, and repairing of Christmas decor around town. From painting and construction of the float, ensuring the generators are running efficiently to power Santa and the mayor and the council's float, to refurnishing Christmas decor back to like new status. These staff have worked tirelessly for weeks in pouring rain to ensure the city was ready for the Christmas festival. These are public works staff who behind the scenes made the city shine very bright during the Christmas year. And just a few names. Stan Cusack, he's the painter and refurbishes Christmas pole decor all throughout the season. So this includes all decorations hanging from the Confederation Center, the large poinsettia display at West Worley Community Center, as well as the giant candles we see this year at the events grounds. John McPhee ensures the generators are running up to notch from all the small engine shops so kids can hear and see Santa over these 6 days of the parades. John Burley, Brad Meisner, and Robert DeVoe constructed Santa's float on a 50-foot trailer each year and then carefully take them apart every year for storage. They also build the stuff needed for Charlietown. Frank Bell, Bob McCacken, and Roger Smith hand-picked every Christmas tree around the city, including Confederation Center. Frank is our Mr. Christmas at Public Works. His eyes and for his work over the years. They installed it and decorated and fixed from November till January. Ormy Hopkinson trims the trees, over 130 of them, so that they just look perfect for all their endeavors. Larry Roach, Terry Glant, Jeff O'Halloran, Richard Feenan, Ernie Scott, Brandon Arsenal, Donald Joseph, and Tarina Long have all worked to install it and decorate the trees and put garland and pole lights all throughout the season and in the rain as well. So they take pride in their role, and I just want to give a shout out and a thanks to all these guys. And moving on to the Public Works and Urban Beautification Committee, it did meet on November 30th. Draft minutes are included in the regular monthly package. The Civic Board of Persons with Disabilities met on November the 10th, and the draft minutes are there as well. And we'll have some new members coming on board to the Civic Board for this meeting coming up this week, actually. So we're looking for some bigger things to come out of that group, and if I can answer any questions, I'll certainly try. Thank you.
Councilor Cron.
Thank you, Mayor Brown. Thank you for your report, Councilor McLeod. This is an unusual request, and I don't know if it is has to be negotiated or what, but I came across a couple of guys there that work for the city, and you know, it was a very cold, windy day out, and they had a yellow vest on, but you know, they were very cold. And I said, well, where's your jacket? And they said, well, we don't get one, we're not full-time. So I guess they might have been casual, like a 6-month term or something like that. And I'm thinking, well, you know what, I worked outside most of my career, and I always appreciated a nice warm coat or a pair of gloves or a hat. I'm just wondering if either the committee or council has to sit down and look at, for some of the employees that work with the city and they're outside, we have to ensure that they have the proper clothing, you know, a coat or a hat or a pair of gloves or even a name tag, because some people I know, some people I don't, and I'm thinking, do you work for the city, right? So this is something that maybe council or committee can look at and see what we can do in the budget or special, you know, passing of a resolution or something. But you know, it was very hard to look at these guys and they were cold, right? So I'm just like, okay, I'll bring it up and see what we can do, and hopefully we'll get this looked at so everybody can have a coat, you know, for the winter. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Councillor Strong. That is alarming news to hear that. It's hard to do the job when you're half frozen, but I will ask Public Works Manager Scott Adams if you can shine some light on the policy there first, and then maybe council can help out with doing something about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Worship. So this is also an HR matter as well. It is in negotiated terms, part of the union negotiation. So outside of that, because we are bound by the agreement. So the agreement is that only at this time only permanent staff do get the city deckled jackets, and it is the expectation of seasonal and casual staff. They are expected to provide their own jackets. If it's a special type of work, we do provide gloves for certain things and things like that. But all employees, seasonal and casuals, are expected to provide their own warm clothing and boots as well.
Just a quick response. And you know, I can appreciate that. But in this day and age, like a lot of these employees would only work a certain amount of weeks, right? So then they have to wait until their unemployment kicks in, and maybe they don't have the money for a work coat, or you know, their money might have went to somewhere else, you know, for their families or something. So that's just something maybe we could look at in the future, you know, and hopefully we'll get this under control.
Councillor
Thank
McLeod.
you for your explanation, Scott.
Thank you very much again, Councillor Strong and for Scott. I think we'll forward this to our next Public Works meeting and address what could we do.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Councillor Bernard and then Councillor Yankoff. Councillor Bernard.
I just wanted to, just a quick note on what the chair had talked about, the people behind the scenes that don't usually get a lot of credit, and I'm glad you brought it up. Because this year in particular, everybody knows, the last 3 weeks of November, when the decorating was going full tilt, it did nothing but rain. And that's, you know, I mean, you look at the city of Sharon and tell me we're not the envy of a lot of municipalities there with the city of Sharon, are well decorated. So kudos to them. Good that you brought it up.
Thank you.
Councillor Yankoff.
Thank you. Just an idea on those coats and boots and stuff. Could there not just be a certain amount of coats just available so that when you punch in that day, you can go and sign out a warmer jacket, put it back at the end of your shift? I mean, there's sterilizing stuff to spray them down for people, you know, in our COVID times, just so that it doesn't really even maybe have to affect the union. It's just, it gives them something to wear while we're trying to figure it out.
So we'll take that back.
Yeah, no, you're going to bring it.
Thank you very much, and that's a great idea. And
Take that back.
We'll have some more ideas.
It's a good idea.
Yep. Good, thank you.
Okay.
Your Worship,
Want to read off that
motion, moved by Councillor McLeod, second by Councillor Duffy, that as per the conditions of the request for proposals on supply of installation of new Charlottetown City Hall office furniture and workstations, the submission of Office Express in the amount of $101,999 plus all applicable taxes be accepted, Your Worship.
Questions, Deputy? Questions called? Questions called? All those in favor, please raise your hand. 9-0 for new office clerk. Your office, Mr. Young? Huh? Thank you, Councilor McLeod. Thank you very much. Good man. Economic Development, Councilor Julie McCabe.
Thank you.
Ward 10.
Worship.
Yes.
The what? Ward
Yes.
10. Ward 10.
Are you Ward 10 or Ward 9?
Ward 9.
I think you
Ward
said 10,
10.
didn't you?
Yeah. That's okay. It's only been 3 years.
Ward 9 is, Ward 9, right?
Top ones. Yes, our Economic Development Tourism Event Management Committee met on November 18th. The open draft minutes are in your package. The Arts Advisory Board met on the 23rd of November. Those draft minutes are also in your package. Just a quick update from our department. Last week, the City of Charlottetown welcomed 17 new physicians to Charlottetown who began practicing during the last calendar year. A wonderful event was held at the Coleman Grand Hotel. We need to send a big shout out to Charlotte Nicholson for her leadership in the delivery of the event. It was really well attended and I think really appreciated by the physicians that were there as well as many of us. In case you missed it, Swoop Airlines announced last month a seasonal direct flight. It's going to start between Charlottetown and Edmonton in June. This is really great news for our Charlottetown Airport, trying to get back into gear. Our Events Development Officer and Tourism Officer recently attended the Tourism Industry Association of Canada's National Tourism Congress in Ottawa. It marked the first time the national tourism sector was able to gather in person since the onset of our pandemic. This past weekend, the Wintertide Holiday Festival concerts in support of the Salvation Army Christmas Kettle were held at the PEI Convention Center, and they were able to entertain 2,300 people over 3 different shows. You'll notice some of the staff are missing here this evening. They're out taking part in the Wintertide Holiday Festival home decorating contest, judging as we speak. Capital New Year's celebration details were announced late last week. Pre-registration for all activities open today at noon, so details can be found at charlottetown.ca/NYD. Excitement is building for the return of the George Trainer Holiday Classic this year, so we want to thank all the volunteers who make this happen. On a positive note, Laurel Lee, our tourism officer, was just recently elected as president of the Canadian Capital Cities Organization at the CCCO's AGM last month, so we want to make sure we congratulate Laurel on this new exciting role. Our Events Development Officer, Wayne Long, has been appointed as chair of the Bell Alliance Center's Diversity and Inclusion Standing Committee. So congratulations to you too, Wayne. There are several great announcements to come over the next few months for the capital city, including one later this week. I think you all received an invitation to that today. Stay tuned. And a reminder too that the Arts Advisory Consultant is going to be doing a presentation at our meeting this Wednesday. And based on the feedback she got from the one-to-one meetings, I think she heard that a lot of us would like to learn a little bit more about what public art consists of. So if you haven't signed up and you're interested in taking part virtually in our meeting, or you can come into the chamber, make sure you let Laurel know. I think it would be good. We've dedicated some money to that area, and the more we can learn to understand about what that entails, then maybe we can continue to support this important endeavor. And that is it. Any questions? I'll do my best to answer.
Councillor Duffy.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm not sure, Your Worship, if this is the right committee, but I think these folks are always involved in everything going on around here. I just heard Dr. Morrison this past week encouraging organizations and groups not to have levies this year, and I was wondering if we have put any thought into this, and if we have, what's the outcome, and if we haven't, how come?
I guess we can't.
Pardon?
I guess we can't have one.
That is
Okay.
Because the Premier has said no.
Yeah.
And the Lieutenant Governor has said no.
Yes.
And the sign of caution. I'd love to have one, but can't do
I
it.
just didn't think a decision had been made yet.
No, unless, if you want to discuss, what are your thoughts?
Oh, I don't think we should. It's not worth it.
I don't think it's prudent to do it.
And Peter Raccavina sent out his email, because he always keeps that levy list going.
Yeah.
And he said that he wasn't doing a levy list this year. as far as he was concerned.
So, Councillor Duffy, I think it's appropriate just to announce now, there will be no levy. Too bad. Look, it's the best time of the year for me, but can't do it.
Maybe we'll have 2 next year.
Yeah, 30th and the 31st.
Whatever works.
We're still around.
You can't have two, you won't be here.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Councillor McCabe, look, those 6 days of the parade were just, the feedback was unbelievable. And Councillor Duffy and Ramsey and I were on that night that was just freezing. And then the night that Councillor Yankoff, it was so cold, but by the end of it, just to see the children coming out the doors, flying out the doors, I thought they were flying out to see us.
Yeah.
They wanted to see the guy behind us.
Yeah.
Of course they do. All them.
But thank you for coming out. It was a great time.
They did a good job.
No other questions? Okay, we can move on. Thank you, Wayne. Who's presenting the Environment Sustainability Report? Councilor Bernard.
Thank you, Your Worship. The Environment Sustainability Committee met, Your Worship, on November the 17th. Minutes are in the packets. Your Worship, I do have some highlights of the meeting, the minutes. The monthly transit ridership for October 21 was 59,461, compared to October 2020, when the ridership was 35,000. The city's transit system is currently maintaining 70% of its pre-pandemic ridership. So monthly ridership from high school participants in the student transit project was 828 this month. So, not bad.
Good numbers.
Not bad, yeah. Well, it's good to see this. It's maintained to 70%.
Yeah.
Pre-pandemic numbers. So, the Switch Charlottetown is a program that provides 0% interest financing to Charlottetown residents to invest in energy efficiency and renewable energy projects in their home. So, Your Worship, since we launched this program in July, over $600,000 in project work has been approved in Charlottetown. On the approved projects, 38% of that is for solar projects, Your Worship. 44% is for heat pumps, and 13% is for building envelopes. So, whether that be insulation, doors, windows, so on. So, interested residents can find details on the Switch Charlottetown on the city's website. So, Your Worship, if there's any other questions, I'll do my best to answer them.
It's great news. Any questions on it? No, great news there, Councilor Bernard. Okay, new business. Well, imagine that, Legal Counsel Campbell, it's hour and 15 minutes.
Keep talking, because I
It
don't
was
want
no
to.
different tonight.
Well, must be December, people want to get home. Motion to adjourn. All those in favor? Thank you very much. Thank you.